Now, there's a conspicuous absentee from the war in Mali, the United States. The intervention there, as we've reported on tonight's programme, was led by the French, not by American soldiers. Is this a sign of the US's waning power on the world stage? It was Hillary Clinton as US Secretary of State who's been responsible for American global influence in the last few years. As the British Foreign Secretary flew into Washington to host a farewell dinner for her tonight, there are those who are questioning her and America's legacy. Matt Fry has this report.
Remember those sour days when Hillary and Barack were just rivals and most definitely not a team?
I don't think I'm that bad.
You're likable enough.
Thank
Hillary,
you so
no
much.
doubt.
My children need you.
But not enough. This was the 2008 campaign which Hillary had assumed was hers to win until he came along and spoiled it all. Husband Bill was apoplectic.
Give me a break. This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
The fairy tale turned out to be real, and yet time and expediency can be great healers.
I just wanted to have a chance to publicly say thank you.
And here they were this weekend, after 4 years in the same cabinet, with a kind of gooey chemistry you don't tend to find between a president and his Secretary of State.
I consider Hillary a strong friend.
I mean, very warm, close. I think there's a sense of understanding that, sometimes doesn't even take words.
Telepathy apart, closeness to a president is a valuable currency for any Secretary of State. And as her former assistant told me, Hillary used it to great effect.
As she said many times, look, I'm working for the guy who defeated me politically in a campaign. If we can work together, you guys have to figure out how to work together for the betterment of your own...
That's what she said.
She did, on a number of occasions.
Another bond was created by circumstances. Both she and the president started their jobs painfully aware of America's limitations.
What did he promise you?
It was going to be hard. That, welcome to hard times. I mean, because the one thing he didn't mention was, he basically said, we've got this major economic crisis that may push us into a depression. I'm not going to be able to do a lot to satisfy the built-up expectations for our role around the world. So you're going to have to get out there and, really represent us while I deal with, the economic catastrophe I inherited.
And so she did, visiting 110 countries, more than any of her predecessors, embarking on charm offences while America, strapped for cash, was retreating from military ones, in Iraq and Afghanistan, taking a backseat in Libya or staying out of Syria altogether. The inevitable question, is America in retreat?
We do nobody a service when we leap before we look, where we, take on things without having thought through all the consequences of it. And Syria is a classic example of where our involvement, we want to make sure that not only does it enhance U.S. security, but also that it is doing right by the people of Syria and neighbors like Israel that are going to be profoundly affected by it.
You've got to be careful. You have to be thoughtful. You can't rush in, especially now where it's more complex than it's been in decades.
In the eyes of outsiders, can America ever get it right? Because either you're marching around the world with too much of a military footprint or you're not doing enough. So where's the right balance?
I think we were seeing the emergence of the right balance, not going to jump into an issue, to a crisis without having a consensus for action, a legal authority, to act, and willing partners able to share the burden.
From hard power to soft power to what Hillary Clinton likes to call smart power, example Libya. William Hague, here to throw a farewell dinner for her, is a fan.
I think her legacy in this last week has been the wise use of American power. I think America made the right judgment on Libya. Yes, they said to us there were certain things that they would and would not do, and that they expected Britain and France, if we were going to become involved, to lead the way in many ways. But I think that was right. I think that made that what we did in Libya more acceptable to people in Libya and to the Arab world, that it wasn't just an American-led effort. So I think that was the wise use of American power.
Diplomacy may be back in fashion, but to what end? Fact is, it never hurts to be nice.
Hello.
Especially about a woman who may one day hope to be witnessing her own presidential inauguration.
Matt Fry.